All right. So, good day and thank you for joining me. Um, I think there are some things in life when you get to a certain stage, phase, or age when you start to realize that there's more to life than just things. And you start to realize that, I need to take better care of myself. I'm hoping you're at that stage. If, for example, you have a vehicle and all you ever do is fill that vehicle with gas, you never change the oil, you never rotate the tire, you never get anything done, how long do you think that vehicle would last you? It's about maintenance. And so it is important to maintain your body. And today we're going to look at a big topic, colon cancer screening. Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Williams, AKA Queen, your family friendly cancer doc, who is coming into you today to talk about the basics of cancer. I've been doing this kind of stuff since dating back to 2011, and I've just now been getting some time to really start to break down the basics. I've gotten your questions, I've heard you, and you've been asking, why do I have to do colon cancer screening? I don't have any problems. No one in my family has colon cancer. And then there's a lot of push and a lot of commercial about doing the stool kit. And I've been asked, why do I have to play in my poop? And why do I have to do the colonoscopy? I don't want to do any of those things. So today I'm going to take a few minutes. I won't be before you long, just to go over the importance of colon cancer and just have a little chat about this. In the end, you get to decide what you want to do. In the end, you get to decide how you want to take care of your body, if at all. But I'm a strong believer that the more you know, the better you will do. So let's jump into today's information. But as always, before I jump into talking about anything medical, I must give you my disclaimer here that this is really just a live session to increase your knowledge and to give you information that you can find elsewhere. However, the stuff that I will be discussing today, I encourage you always, always, always to talk to your primary care. If this is your first time joining, thank you for coming and welcome. But if you go back to my previous live shows, you'll get a lot of good basic information. But I'm pausing here because I do want you to realize that the information that I'm presenting here does not forego your having a conversation with your physician, right? So thank you for joining, Ramona. Appreciate you being on here today. And there's a Royce Davis. Thank you so much. Please do share, encourage folks to join and come on and take part in this live session here. I would love, love, love for other people to learn as well. So thank you so much for joining. For those of you who are on YouTube, I've learned that because the normal chat isn't turned on, you may not be able to comment. But if you're on Facebook, please share, comment, let me know what you're thinking. For others of you, typically after these shows, I do go to my community. I do have a community. Just go to queenquanta.com where there are a lot of free information. And I try to, it's new. I'm hoping to launch by the summer. So hopefully you can join and give me your input on topics you'd like to hear. So again, thanks for joining. Today we're going to be talking about colon cancer screening. Just the facts, right? I'm Dr. Williams, aka Queen. I'm a radiation oncologist by trade. I love wearing my little get up here because I went from enlisted to officer while in the military. I'm retired and I'm also a physician. So lots of stuff in my wheelhouse. But let's get right into this so I'm not keeping you too long today. So let's get into talking about colon cancer. Okay. So there are three things. Well, maybe 4 to 5, that I'll be discussing with you today. The importance of colon cancer screening, where the colon is located and how cancer can develop there. And then we'll also be talking about the different types of colon cancer screening. Okay. And I'll kind of touch on the big fear of the colon, of the prep, and how important it is just to do the prep. So let's talk about the basics here. Let's jump into this today. It's been a long day. I hope you had a good day today. My day was really long and I tried to take a little nap. I was like, okay, this is not going to work. Let me just come on and give you this information. So if you've been with us before, if you recall, I love talking about practical things. I just like keeping things practical and simple. And so we talk about comparing the body to a vehicle, something everybody can relate to, right? And I don't know about you, but it's very rare that I lift up the hood of my car and look underneath there. I get in, I put gas in there, I take it into the shop. How about you? Do you know your vehicle? I'm trying to encourage you here to look under the hood of your vehicle, figuratively speaking, talking about your body. And so we had reviewed how there's a lot under the hood. There's a lot going on with your body. It's so much more complex than a vehicle. We talk about the brain, respiratory system, cardiac, CNS. Today, we're going to be touching on gastrointestinal right there. Whenever you see GI in your note, that should be telling you we're talking about the gastrointestinal system. And that goes all the way from your esophagus, where you swallow the food, all the way down to your anus, where you exit, where the poop exit. Like, look, I'm going to keep things real here. I'm going to speak in language you can understand. So come with me on this ride. So we're going to talk about the GI today. And so, first, let's take a look here on why colon cancer is so important. Good evening, Angelica. Thank you for joining. Why is the colon? Why is everybody tripping over colon cancer? That's like the vernacular, right? Why y'all tripping? We're tripping over this colon cancer stuff. Well, what I'm showing you here is the estimated new cancer cases in males and females. And in the top three, colon and rectal cancer, we call it colorectal, combination of colon and rectum. That's the third leading diagnosis in the United States. Now, these numbers are just estimates. So if you want the real number, I would recommend you go to the National Cancer Institute or the American Cancer Society. They have live update, but relatively speaking, there's over 70,000 new cases of colon cancer and rectal cancer combined that's being diagnosed every year. And this is for both male and female. It's the third leading diagnosis, right? So I want you to realize this is why we're pushing it so much, because it's a lot of it occurring. And I'll tell you another reason why this is something that is preventable. And we're going to talk more about that. Now, as you look on this list, you'll notice skin cancer isn't there, because skin cancer is the most common. It's so common that it's not reported, except for melanoma. And so skin cancer isn't really listed here. But notice it is the third leading diagnosis. All right. So let's go here and see what's up next, because we have a lot to cover here. What if you could prevent a cancer from happening? Would you do what's necessary? Ah, that's the question. Colon cancer, in most cases, make sure you hear me right now. I'm not saying every case, but in most cases, colon cancer can be prevented. And I have this collage of different folks up here for the simple fact that more and more younger folks are getting diagnosed with this type of cancer, with colon cancer. So it's not just someone who is up in age or older or in their 70s that's getting diagnosed. Oh no. And we're going to hit on some of these famous people in their 30s and 40s who doesn't have any family history, etc., who are not only getting diagnosed with colon cancer, but are dying from colon cancer. So it's important for you to understand what you need to do in order to save yourself or a loved one. And so the question is, if you could make a change, would you? Would you? All right, let's get a little bit more into this here. So let's talk about just the facts. So the fact is, as we saw, colon cancer can be stopped in its tracks before it ever begin. How amazing is that? A cancer that can be stopped in its tracks before it ever began? Not a lot of stuff we can do that other cancers we could talk about like that. Not at all, you know? So we have to take that into consideration. And at least 60% of death from colorectal cancer could be prevented. Like what? Over 60%. That's why you're seeing all these commercial. That's why they're pushing having this stool sample kit be sent in. But I am going to share my bias against that, but at least you're doing something. In addition to the 60% not diagnosed, but deaths, if you are African American, my brothers and sisters, if you are of African descent, you are at a higher risk. Just being black is a risk factor, you know? And I always try to explain it to my family and friends and folks in my close circle that being of African descent to colon cancer is like smoking to lung cancer. It's a risk factor. So if you're African American, the screening should begin even earlier than what's the norm for regular folks, which is 50. So I kind of pause on this though, because it says that for African American, the screening should begin at age 45. But we know folks who've died younger in their 40s, 43, who are African Americans, movie stars, and not, and regular folks who are in their 40s with metastatic cancer and diagnosed. So starting the screening at 45 is just the guideline. If you're having symptoms, you need to get to your PCP and PCM. And if PCP, PCM doesn't mean anything to you, you need to go and watch my previous talking about who it is that take care of you. So we need to get checked. And so if you know anyone in your family who's 40 and older, start the conversation about getting your colon cancer screening. Okay. All right. So then let me see here. I think I have some comments here. Let's see. Please chop your comments here. And this is from Ramona Dandridge. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. So here's the other big thing folks have question about. Where is the colon? And folks would rub their tummy. It's in their tummy. It's by your belly button and all that good stuff. No, no. Let me see if I can get my picture out of the way here. Yeah. So when we talk about the colon and where the colon is located, you can't really see it or appreciate it as much. But the colon is this long thing that goes around. If you go from the bottom where you see the anus, then it goes to the rectum on the right or left of your screen, and then it goes up and across and down. That's the colon. Everything in the center is the small bowels, and those are different things. So when you're having a colonoscopy, they're actually looking in your colon. Let me go to next slide here. All right. This is showing you how the esophagus, so the picture here where you see the human is showing the mouth and that red thing going down, that's your swallowing tube. It goes into the stomach. That big red thing off to the left, I can't point to show you, but that's the liver. So you know what, you're on the right. And in the center, that thing looked like a bag of worm. That's your small bowel. In the center, this is showing you the length of your colon, and your colon is over 5 feet long. That's your large intestine. So you're looking for a polyp in that big, large thing. It's sometimes difficult to find. And that's why it's so important to have that colon prep. Really, what they're trying to do is clean out all of the stool. So if there's any polyp or any abnormality, they can see it. In this gentleman figure here off to the right, you'll see in the low corner a little round thing that is showing as the polyp. Now, you can't reach out and touch that. You can't feel it. You can't see it. And the stool, you're probably having bowel movement going okay if it's tiny. So having a colonoscopy is still the gold standard, people. That's the number. That's what we all want you to do is the colonoscopy. Doing the other tests are just something just to try to get you in to do something anyway. All right. So here we go. Now you know where the colon is and what where the polyps are located. That's a lot. That's 5 feet of open space to look for any sort of changes that may be there. The next questions I tend to get from you guys, well, what are the possible symptoms? What signs are there? Go back to our talk 2 weeks ago where we discussed the difference between signs and symptoms, right? Sign is like the stop sign, things that you could see. And then their symptoms are what you feel, where we cannot, you have to tell us, the physician, what it is that you're experiencing. So for colorectal cancer, most of the symptoms, it can be complicated because it's mixed with other symptoms as well. That is to say, you can have symptoms that are similar to infection or irritable bowel syndrome or inflammatory bowel disease, or you may even have some hemorrhoids and notice some things. However, the big thing to look for is consistent change in your bowel habits. What do I mean by that? If you're having a lot of constipation or a lot of diarrhea, or you notice that the shape of your stool change. Okay, don't tell me you don't look at your stool. You have to turn around and look at it. That's not gross. I hear y'all out there. It's not gross to look at your stool. How else you're going to know? You have to look at your stool because then your doctor is going to ask you, well, what color is your stool? Is it brown? Does it look more black? Is it shaped like a pencil? Is it full like it's supposed to be? You have to know these things. We can't tell you. But if your stool is usually bulky and like, I don't know, looking like my mouse here, this is a pretty small mouse, and then later on your stool is looking like a pen or a pencil is always coming out thin, that's something you need to be aware of. How frequently, if you're noticing rectal bleeding, the rectal bleeding most times will be hemorrhoids because a lot of folks have hemorrhoids. But if you're not sure, go to your PCP and let them know. If you're having cramping or abdominal pain, weakness, fatigue, unintentional weight loss, this could be a myriad of things, right? But it's not for you to sit and try to self diagnose. If you notice a change in your body, you need to reach out to a specialist, which is your primary care provider. If your vehicle have lights coming on and it started to stutter when you're trying to start it, you're not going to try to fix your vehicle yourself. No, you're going to take it into the shop and have an experienced person look at it, have the mechanic look at it. And the same thing you should do for your body, but you have to pay attention to your body though, right? Then there are different tests that you need to do regarding screening for colon cancer. Screening for colon cancer, ladies and gentlemen, save lives. And there are different types of tests that you can do. Colonoscopy remains the gold standard, and I'm going into that in a little bit. There's a flexible sigmoidoscopy, you have the virtual colonoscopy, barium. There is so many, but if you notice at the very bottom is where you have the fecal occult blood test. or the Guayet test, they can actually look to see if there's any blood in there and then say, okay, you need to get the colonoscopy. So you look at the list though, it's at the bottom. It's not the thing that they want you to do first. It helps, and we're happy that you're getting it, but there are other things that are better than just the stool sample that is sent in. Listed there are the ages again. If you are of African descent, Black, brown, you need to start earlier, age 40 or even sooner if you have colon cancer in your family. All right. So, what's with me and my beef about this whole, you know, leave the white based fecal occult blood test alone and go get your colonoscopy? For the reason this picture is here. Okay, I know that the prep is not the most pleasant thing, but when a colonoscopy is done, they get this little tube that's like a pencil or pen, and they go up in the colon and they're looking for little things like what you're seeing right there. That's a polyp. And they could just smear it and remove it right then and there. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Please hear me well. Here's the thing. That polyp or polyps, they don't always bleed. So if you're doing that stool sample test and you're looking for the guaic or blood or any abnormality stuff in it, it's not that it's going to get it all the time. It has a very high false negative. And it also has a high false positive because if you have hemorrhoids, the blood is going to be picked up as well. And the blood from hemorrhoids cannot be differentiated from the blood from a polyp. And therefore, we can't remove what we cannot see. I'll say that again. We can't remove what we cannot see. And so the colonoscopy allows your GI doc to see if there's any abnormality. And if there's any, they can just snipe it right out and send it off to testing to make sure it's not cancer. Now, if you do have polyp, you cannot see that with a stool test. Now, there's some other, tests you could do where you could swallow and take a picture, but that still requires for you to do the prep and drink that lovely drink. And I know when I was in the military, oh my gosh, I swear I drink like about a gallon of that stuff to try to clean out. But there are different types of preps. There's a pill form that you could take and you just have bowel movement that will clean you out and you drink the water. Then there's a small one where you could take 16 ounces instead. Talk to your doctor. Say, hey, I don't want to be drinking that gallons upon gallons of prep. Can I get something that's easier to tolerate? It's there. Now, whether or not your insurance cover it, I don't know. That's a whole nother, the insurance part I'm going to leave for a little bit. But this is why colonoscopy is preferred. And by the way, you're in twilight, which means you're sleeping. So you're not going to feel anything. Get the colonoscopy. You don't want to get a colonoscopy, fine. Do the stool portion. They can pick up some stuff, and if something is noted, then you have to go back and get the colonoscopy anyway. And guess what? If they see no polyp, come. If they see no polyp, you don't have to do it for 10 years. 10. 10 years. You'll be good. Now, if they do find some polyp, though, they may ask you to come back in 5 years, depending on the type of polyp they found and if it was benign, non-cancerous, or cancerous. So if you're over age 45 or you're having any symptoms, you truly, truly need to talk to your doctor about this colon cancer screening. And my bias is get your colonoscopy. Just, woman up and man up. Just sit on the toilet, clean out your colon, have them do the scope while you're sleeping, folks. You're not awake, and have them look, and then you'll be done for 10 years. How easy is that? You could do that. You could do that. So, again, talk to your primary care physician or primary care manager about the best thing to do. Now, also remember, you have to talk about the risk factors and all that stuff. And, the flex sig, there's something called the flexible sigmoidoscopy, which it doesn't go to the entire length. The picture in the middle is the entire area that the colonoscopy examined. All of that 5 feet worth of stuff it looks at. So you really do need to get in and get the stuff done appropriately. Get your colonoscopy, do your sigmoidoscopy, do something. Something is better than nothing. I know something is better than nothing, but please, please consider getting the colonoscopy done. Okay? All right. So now we have done that. Let's see here. We want you to talk to your doctor. I really do want you to talk to your doctor. In most cases, there are no symptoms for colorectal cancer in the early stage. All should be screened by age 45. If you are African American, by 50. If you are younger, if I'm sorry, by 50, if your risk factor is less, right? So we want to get out there, we want to get screened. And this is a big thing too. You need to know your family history, because if someone had cancer, colorectal cancer, and there's some other cancers associated with colon cancer, but that's why I'm encouraging you to have this conversation with your doc. So if someone in your family had colon cancer and they had it when they're 45, guess what? You need to start talking about colon cancer screening and start looking into stuff 10 years earlier. So you're talking when you're in your 30s. These are important factors that you need to know. And don't be afraid of the colonoscopy. Remember, there are different types of prep. Get it done, and you'll be asleep. You'll wake up and you'll be clean as a whistle, and they'll tell you you are good to go for 10 years, God's willing, and you won't have to go back for 10 if they find something 3 or 5. But let's be real about this. This is something that is highly preventable. So it was brief, it was quick, but I hope it made a difference for you in that it shows you the importance of getting colon cancer screening. We look at where the colon is located. We talk about how it developed. Now, if that polyp is there and it's not taken out, it's just going to continue to grow and become an issue, becomes cancer, and then who knows which way it's going to go at that point. So let's prevent that. And we talk about the different types of screening available. And so talk about it, right? Talk about it. So let's see here. So that's it. Let's see if there are any questions or comments. Please do let me know. Go back to the main screen here. I see we have Lee J. Thank you so much for joining, saying good evening, everybody. I see you said that you got yours done last year. I'm not going to put that on screen. I don't know if you want that on screen, but thank you, Lee, for saying that. Yes, I'm glad you got yours done. Tell your family and friends to get their colon screening done as well. And while I was on here, I was like, there's so many folks here that are dying from colon cancer. I was like, let me look up a list of folks who are well known who have passed from colon cancer. And we're talking about, let's see who we got here. Chadwick Boseman, he was 76 to 2020. So what's that, in the late 30s? Died from colon cancer. Okay, I'm going to share this, Lee. They need to see this. I hope I get your thumbs up to let me know if it's okay to share that you said it was okay and it was painless. Oh my, they need to know that. Then famous people that died from colon cancer. We have Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther, that young gentleman just come in, whoof, and he was gone. Late 30s, 1976 to 2020. Then Ronald Reagan, right? Daryl Strawberry, Jackie Gleason, Vince Lombardi, Farrah Fawcett, Milton Berle, Charles Shaw, like what? Audrey Hepburn, like so many people. So if you can prevent it, Get it done. Go do your colon cancer screening. Talk to your friends and family. Thank you for allowing me to share, Jay. You see, Lee J say it's okay. It was painless. You won't feel a thing. The most icky thing about the colonoscopy is drinking that stuff and sitting on the toilet. You're just having like a bad stomach flu or something for a little bit. And then you're able to go in and you're good. You get your clean bill of health. So look, we went through colon cancer screening. We covered a lot, and we want you to get it. So please do share. I'm going to be here for another 2 minutes, and then I have to go. So let's see what's going on here. If you have any questions, drop it in the question here. And don't forget, you can join queenquanta.com. I'm starting a new community. I'm going to be building it out by the summer. It will be mostly focused for the ladies, and there'll be a community separate for breast cancer. But I'm just starting out. But there are a lot of free information that's in there that's really good. So please do join my community, queenquanta.com. That's listed right here. It's new. Nobody there yet. Help me out. Let me know like what you would like to see in there. Thank you. Francine was saying here that if had a weight loss surgery in 2002, they cut a lot in testage out. Yes. So here's the thing: if you've had surgery and stuff for different reasons, you still have to go in and get these things checked. Even more so, reason why you should, because things aren't quite the same anymore, right? Because they've cut things out, or they may have joints, or for something that's non-cancerous, that's quite benign. And if you had weight loss surgery, and not really related, but it's all based on your age and risk factor. So if you're over 40, 45, you're African American of Black descent from the Caribbean. Peace to my folks in the Caribbean. I have to give a shout out to my folks in the Caribbean. You have to get your colonoscopy. Another thing too, for all my veterans and folks who are in the military, you were in the military, and you had to go regular, get all these tests and screening done. And some of you didn't retire, you get out early, or if you may retire, and then you just throw your hands up and you don't do anything anymore. No, no, no. Get back on track. And lovely people, one last thing before I go. Lovely. These screening, they're covered by your insurance. There's nothing else you have to do or pay for. Check with your insurance. If you're Medicare, it's covered. A lot of these cancer screening are covered. And I'm going to show you the list next time. You got to come back. You got to come back. The next time I'll be on will be March 25th. Is every second and fourth Tuesday at 7:30. And if you want certain topics, just let me know. I will definitely go over these things. But folks, I so appreciate you joining me. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. I have a lot of good free stuff in my new community. So go on in, go to queenquanta.com, join. Leave me some notes, some messages and stuff. There'll be a community for breast cancer. There'll be a community for my veterans who are looking for information regarding disability for the health portion. So lots more to come. So I just want to say thank you again so much for joining me. But it's time, our time is up, and I try to respect your time. If there are any questions, I'll see you in queenquanta.com. Every Sunday, I do the Bible, making it make sense, Mims review, where I break down parables and stuff and just trying to understand the word every Sunday. That's what I do. And then also every second and fourth. But join my community, won't you? Like, subscribe, follow. I am about bringing the word. I am about advocating for you, teaching you how to advocate for yourself and how to learn to speak to doctors, because it's your body, one life, one body, one, it's just you. So you need to take care of yourself. All right. Until then, mwah, God bless. Bye bye now.